Thanks for having us. This is a great opportunity to be able to come out and hear about and learn about some of the things happening on the East Coast and kind of get outside of the Portland bubble. Again, my name is Ted, and I'm a biologist by training, and I got into this kind of a strange route, but I'm going to talk about Depave. Got started only about 4 years ago in Portland by a young planner by the name of Arif Khan, who's from New York, from the environs. And what I'm going to talk about tonight is kind of a progress report of where we're at 4 years. This isn't going to be like a how-to kind of talk, okay? So if you're interested in that sort of thing, I would encourage you to go to our website, shoot us an email afterwards. We have a manual online, talks about kind of the how-to. It's fascinating. People always get really interested in how we do this, how we enable people to remake their public spaces. But I'm not going to talk about that tonight. What I want to talk about is more kind of some highlights of the last 4 years and kind of where we've gone with the project. We've proven to folks in the Portland community, at least, that we can transform really neglected, blighted spaces on a grand scale. This is one of the biggest projects we've done, 30,000 square feet over 2 years. Vestal Elementary in East Portland, kind of a down and out corner of the city. A lot of pavement, a lot of the demographics that are the most punished by pavement-plagued neighborhoods. And we linked up with a teacher there and actually came in on the second year of this project and did a community garden. And there was already a soccer field there that he'd done the year before. So we've kind of demonstrated what we can kind of do on a grand scale. To me, some of our most exciting sites are actually the smaller, more intimate spaces where you see this sort of public ethos kind of emerge. This is a site we just did this summer, Escuela Viva. It's a school on the Inner East Side. And each site has its own kind of emergence, and it's really hard to predict what's going to happen with the site. And I want to kind of echo what's kind of been said earlier this evening, is that it would be very easy to over-design these projects. It's fascinating to me as a biologist to see how these sites emerge and evolve over the first few years, because when we do these, we try not to overplan them as much as the city would like us to. But some of the themes, I'm not going to talk too much about individual sites, but I'm going to talk about themes that we've seen at about all 19 of our sites. Experimentation, I think, is very important with this. Not tending towards over-design. This site features a perennial food forest garden based on the permaculture principles. And it includes things like a water catchment system, a kinetic water sculpture, and a rain garden all in one. And this was a parking lot, and something else is happening here now. It's interesting to see how people linger now as they come by these spaces, particularly this space. I'm always fascinated by it as I go by on my bike. The community that emerges from the actual creation of these spaces is very important. And when contractors come to us and say, it would be so much easier to do that with a backhoe, I just tell them that's not the point. Because the process is the end goal for me. I mean, it's creating the connection to the place. And you don't get that when you have contractors come in and do it for you. The leadership, I think, is very important. The leadership, the fact that we've had the mayor come to one of our events, we've had 2 other city commissioners come to our events, and this one fellow, Nick Fish, who's the one in the middle there with the ball cap, is now an active partner. He's on the city commission. He runs the parks department, and we're working with them every year now. We do a site that expands the city's community gardens program. RF Khan there is the one on the far right, in the bottom right-hand corner. He was the one that started Depave. And the types of partners that come to our projects, this is Mary Logelbo with the Soil and Water Conservation District, and showing kids that come and participate, illustrating for them what a watershed is, using a watershed model to show how small actions like this in their neighborhoods can shift the watershed processes on a grand scale. Oh, I forgot the most important thing about this slide. The leadership, it comes on both sides. I'm kind of an outlier within the group. I'm one of the only two males in the core group of organizers of Depave. And some of the leadership that we've seen emerge through the movement, it's largely a movement that is led by women. And many of these women now are going on to professional positions. We've had one woman now infiltrate Portland Public Schools and is helping us get into their structure and change that structure a little bit. And so I think the act of doing these projects has taught and leadership skills that have gone out into the community and grown new connections, new partnerships in those communities. Stewardship has been really important. Again, with people actively creating these spaces and understanding where the water goes on the site. Down in the right-hand corner, you can just barely make it out as a storm drain. I got into this as a biologist because for years and years and years, I was advocating for wise growth management and not really having a lot of success. And on the flip side, getting involved in stream restoration and seeing how ineffective it is when people don't deal with what's upstream. So a big part of Depave to me is people kind of reclaiming the headwaters and saying, we're not just throw a bunch of sticks in the stream downstream and call it good. This is not just beautifying urban streams. This is actually about trying to shift some of the watershed processes that we know we have problems with in cities that have things like combined sewer overflow problems. Art is also a big part of Depave. We are always striving to do more art, both in the events that we hold and host, and in the sites that become re-inhabited afterwards. We have one metalsmith artist we've worked with a lot here and there. And if any of you have seen the videos of some of our events, the frogs have shown up at more than one site wielding their PVC jackhammers to kind of kick off the event and getting people inspired. The center panel there, the top center panel, is a design for one of the spaces we did 2 years ago that was at a school where the kids actually designed the space together. It was as a class project, and we implemented it. So this isn't like us coming in, doing the design work, leading it. This is us kind of coming in with the tools, with some assistance. It's a very community-driven project. I neglected to say earlier that our events are typically like 50 to 150 people. Usually it's like 10% of that are people from our organization. We have about like a mailing list of about 500 people in Portland. But when we do events, it's very community-driven, and most of the people, I'd say 90% of the people, are from that site, or they take stock in that site. So we're not trying to swoop in and do a project. We're looking for the right pieces to come together, and the community has to be there. Another theme is the theme of transformation, and I think it's easy to get caught up in the acreage and the before and after photos, but to me, the biggest transformation is the transformation that I see in people that come to our sites and participate. that they see in their hearts, their transformation, that pavement is not permanent, and that they can go home and actually implement this kind of stuff in their backyard. And that's what we're angling for. The events are about new public spaces, but they're also about inspiring people to go home, showing people how easy it is, and enabling them to kind of go home and do it in their own backyard. And we have a lot of people doing that now. So another theme I always talk about in Portland is the inspiration and the fact that we have wild nature close at hand. We still have salmon in some of our urban streams, freshwater mussels, cutthroat trout, and you know, the inspiration there that kind of got Depave started was trying to reconnect with our headwaters, and it's kind of expanded. It's about growing green space. It's about reconnecting people back with that green space, and creating spaces where people can reconnect with each other. So, kind of by the numbers, really quickly, we've done about 19 sites in 4 years. We're up to about close to 90,000 square feet. Don't ask me what that is in acres. It's about 2 acres? Okay. Both public and private sites, schools, churches, some private businesses sites too. The effective impervious area removed, so that's not just square feet of pavement removed, that's like the catchment area that we've disconnected from the storm sewer, is about 150,000 square feet. So we're starting to get up there. And we don't have really good numbers on this because it's crazy when we have these events. We can't keep track of all the people that come. But it's over about 2,000 people, which is pretty significant in a small city, or what I call a large town. So that's it. Short and sweet, and hopefully we get some time to talk about it afterwards. I look forward to the next presentation.